So now we can say the 7 limbs. Kosungu pegone chagselo nyashami trol. It's the next prayer. Yashami trol churchen malubul togmene sagdig tong tang tam che shag kye page wa namla jeirang korwa matong bardu legjugne drola cheki kolo korwadang dagjen genam jangchub chen ponyo. So now maybe, what can we do today? So there's a little prayer here called the Praise of the Lord and Teacher by way of his 12 deeds, chapter 16, page 93 or something. It's the different things the Buddha did throughout his life. We can just speak these words if you'd like to. Just listen or whatever you'd want. Through skillful compassion, born in the Shakya clan, unconquered one, subduer of Mara's horde, your body shining like a pile of gold, king of the Shakyas, homage to your feet. You who first produced the thought of Bodhi, that's this infinite compassion, then completed both accumulations, merit and wisdom, the 2 wings, with vast deeds, becoming beings protector in this age. I'll praise. Knowing when taming the gods it was time to tame, you came, descending from heaven as an elephant. As an elephant. Yeah, that's right. Huh? I don't know. Saw your caste and entered the womb of Queen Maya. Homage to this deed. When 10 months completed, you were born Shakya Prince in fortunate Lumbini Grove. Supreme marks honoured by Brahma and Chakra confirmed your Bodhi lineage. Homage to this deed. As a powerful youth, a lion among humans, you showed your skill in Anga and Mogadha, put an end to the men of pride and had none of them match you. Homage to this deed. By skill in means to conform to the conduct of the world and for avoidance of blameworthiness, you ruled at court, possessed of a female retinue. Homage to this deed. Seeing samsaric doings had no essence, you left your home and going in the air did the true act of going forth before the quite pure sanctuary. Homage to this deed. Thinking to realize enlightenment through effort, for 6 years you practiced austerities on Naranjana's bank and perfecting energy, one highest dhyana. Homage to this deed. To make worthwhile your efforts without beginning, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree in Mogadha, in unshakable posture, you fully awakened to perfect Bodhi. Homage to this deed. Swiftly observing beings with compassion in Varanasi and other holy places, you turned the wheel of Dharma, setting disciples on the 3 vehicles. Homage to this deed. To put an end to evil opponents in land of Kormojig, you subdued Maras, Devadatta, 6 Titika teachers and others, sage victorious. Homage to this deed. With qualities unmatched in the 3 worlds, at Shravasti you showed a mighty practice, spreading the Dharma with worship by all beings, divine and human. Homage to this deed. To exhort the lazy in Dharma at the pure site Kushinagar, you destroyed your deathless Vajra-like body, entering Nirvana. Homage to this deed. Through seeing there's no destruction in reality, so future sentient beings could heap up merits, you manifested many relics there, remains in 8 portions. Homage to this deed. Through the virtue of praising briefly thus the manner of deeds of the Lord, the Master of Doctrine, may the conduct of all migrating beings be similar to the deeds of the Sugatas. As is your body, O Tathagata, as are your entourage and length of life, Buddha realm and excellent supreme marks, so may mine and others become too. Through these praises and requests to you in the lands where I and others dwell, quelling sickness, poverty and conflict, please let Dharma and good fortune flourish. By the teachers coming into the world, by his doctrine's brilliance like sunlight, and by brotherly concord of the doctrine's holders, long may the doctrine abide. Let all be auspicious. Okay. Did you like doing Tara? Shall we do Tara again? Yes? Okay, let's do Tara again. Kind of think of it as just being very natural, you know, using our mind. Every thought counts. And what we're doing is we're using this creative imagination, thinking of an emanation of all the perfect qualities that we're trying to cultivate out in front of us, and then going through this process of purifying body, speech, and mind, and then imagining becoming the Buddha, and then imagining benefiting sentient beings. So it's like the whole path to enlightenment kind of in like a little story, you know, and every one of those thoughts goes in, every one of those seeds is planted, thus sowing the seed for that to exactly happen. That's the logic of karma. And we understand it. Every time you think about mathematics, you get better at mathematics. We don't think it's surprising. It's only when it comes to these things that we think it's kind of weird, you know, like fantasy. It's the mind. The mind creates everything. So in front of us, the embodiment of perfection, this potential that Buddha has said he accomplished, and he's laid out his methodology for us to accomplish. He says it's the potential of all minds. All minds are naturally, all delusions are adventitious, all not at the core of our being. All virtue, because it's in sync with dependent arising, is the nature of who we are. And when we realize emptiness, then we've achieved reality. Then the mind is in its true nature. This is how we are, Buddha says. That's what he says he's found. So we imagine this energy emanating in front of us in this form, female, green light body, like action energy. The female one is often depicted as the quick one, quick, sharp, wisdom, action energy. Cut through the obstacles, get things done. Her name in Tibetan is Drolma, Ma's female, Drol, a liberator, and often she's referred to as the liberator from the fears of samsara, which just means all the neuroses, all the miseries, all the dramas, you know. So she's gorgeous looking, radiant light body, everything's made of light. She's gorgeous in the prime of her youth, about 16. Should make us really blissful, make us happy. Shakyamuni Buddha, that energy is to subdue. This is to energize. Different level. We'll talk about more today. So she's in this Indian style, kind of aristocratic style, you know, gorgeous jewelry, her throat, head, wrists, upper arms, ankles, like this silken clothing on the lower part of her body. Left leg drawn in like in meditation, but a right leg relaxing, resting on a multicolored lotus, kind of in this action pose, ready to hop up to benefit sentient beings, sitting on a multicolored lotus. And then on the lotus is a sun disk and a moon disk. You can't see them, like two flat cushions representing wisdom and compassion. It's like a visual language. Everything plays a role in the meaning, you know. So got this long hair down her back, partially held up in a top knot. Her gorgeous face, enormous compassion, very blissful. If you have a spiritual teacher, a lama, a guru, you think it's their mind manifesting as Tara for your benefit. Tara is the spiritual teacher, and the spiritual teacher is Tara. Same thing. Showing us what we can become. Her right hand's on her right knee and her palm is upwards, the fingers pointing out, in this gesture or mudra, kind of giving things, you know, kind of giving. And she's holding the stem of a blue upala flower between her ring finger and thumb, and then it blooms at her right ear. And her left hand is the fingers pointing up, in this mudra of enlightenment, or 3 jewels. I always forget. I mean to check and then I forget. And then holding the stem of another blue upala flower with her ring finger and thumb, and it blooms at her left ear. Everything's radiant light, just beautiful. Should make the mind so happy, joyful, blissful. Sometimes you see her eyes are slightly wide open, not like a peaceful meditative one, because she's in the action energy. And sometimes she's depicted as slightly wrathful. You know, you wouldn't want to cross Tara. Infinite compassion, infinite wisdom, infinite power. Cutting through the obstacles, success, courage, confident, brave, making things happen. We need this badly, all of us. Power. There's wisdom to know what to do. There's a compassion that wants to do it, but there's the power to do it. And she's that one. So now you imagine at her brow there's a white Om, at her throat a red R, at her heart a blue Hung, just like English, Roman letters, Om, Ah, Hung. This is the three essential Sanskrit syllables that represent body, speech and mind. So brow, throat, heart. So imagine now light goes out from these syllables. These beams of light go out to the whole universe, hooking the energy of this body, speech and mind of all enlightened beings. All those beings up until now who've become enlightened, who've followed Buddha's methods, achieved the goal. Hooking this energy, bringing it back and coming back into these three syllables and entering into her, making her even now the embodiment of all the enlightened beings in the universe, full of this energy, even more brilliant, even more marvelous. Just imagine this. So now she so compassionately, so happily sends from her brow radiant laser beams of white light from her the white Om, enters into our brow, penetrating and then filling us completely. First, purifying this ridiculous bag of bones we have to lug around all day. The sickness and the heaviness and the inability to do things that needs to be slept all the time and looked after and cleaned. It's ridiculous, Purifies all that, makes it like light as a feather. The sickness all gone, light, wonderful, joyful. This body, full of this white light. And then now it purifies all the imprints in our mind of all the actions we've ever done since beginning of time, as animals especially, and as humans, and as spirits as well. All the beings, the harm we've done to sentient beings over countless lifetimes because of our unbelievable suffering, our unbelievable ignorance. All the seeds of these actions, which haven't ripened yet. So we put atomic bombs on them. This brilliant white light purifies all of them, every bit. Imagine how amazing. Not one atom left. All the imprints of all the harm we've ever done with our bodies. And think of the actions in this life, the abortion, the harming others, the killing of the creatures. All of it purified, gone, full of this radiant white light. And then she happily sends these beams of white light again, entering our brow, filling us, and with our potential. Right now, with this body, for example, light and blissful and radiant, and then also that is only capable of benefiting sentient beings. Imagine that. All the ants, all the creatures, all the bugs, all the humans, all the dogs, all the birds, anybody who sees us, hears us, tastes us, touches us. We can only be a benefit to them. How unbelievable. Our potential. And then, of course, as a Buddha, able to manifest countless bodies throughout all the realms for the benefit of sentient beings. No other purpose for the body. No other purpose. To benefit sentient beings. Full of this amazing white, this blissful white light and this marvelous potential. Now Lama Tara very compassionately sends from the red R at her throat radiant laser beams of red light that penetrate our throat and fill us completely. And this time purify all the nonsense of our speech. First, even just think of all the inability to express ourselves clearly, saying the right things, always ending up saying the wrong things, or the negative actions we've done with our speech, lying. But not just the lying also, but all the speculating, thinking we're speaking the truth and we've got no idea what we're talking about, misleading people. All the speculating, all the harsh speech, all the rabbiting on about nothing speech, and all the bad-mouthing people behind their backs, our favourite. All of this since beginning of this time. This is, of course, especially human activity. The harm that we've created with our speech, all the imprints of this, totally purified. Not one atom left. Full of this radiant red light. Again, she sends radiant beams of red light into our throat, filling us completely with our potential, the power of speech. Can you imagine? Such that any sound we utter, good morning, our laugh, our cough, it benefits who hears us. They hear exactly what they need. Whatever we say will be of benefit. Imagine this. Even just in our lives, the difference would be incredible. Because whatever we say would be useful and beneficial. No nonsense. Full of this marvelous potential to benefit sentient beings with our speech. The main gift of the Buddha, our main gift to others. Full of this potential, this red light. The way to help people. This is the one. And the animals, and the birds, and the insects, and the rats, and the cockroaches. Whoever hears us. And now Lama Tara very happily sends from her heart chakra the blue hung, blue like the sky, radiant beams, laser beams that enter our heart, filling us completely, and annihilating all the delusions, the source of all the problems. Ego grasping, the root one, this ridiculous misconception of a concrete, solid, pointable, separate me. And the attachment, the hunger, the emotional hunger to satisfy that poor self-pity me. Bottomless pit of misery. Possessiveness, expectations, neediness, manipulating, controlling, exaggerating. And the anger when it doesn't get what it wants, or the depression and the despair. And all the other 83,997 mental illnesses that Buddha has identified. All of this eradicated, gone. And why can they go? Because they're lies, and lies have no basis in reality, therefore they can be annihilated. There's no referent object of these lies. They're fantasies made up by our ridiculous minds. Gone. Full of this blissful blue light. And again the blue light comes from Tara's heart, entering us and filling us with now what else? What's left? Our potential, fully developed. Liberation from suffering, bliss, wisdom, clarity. What else? Love, compassion. These natural states of mind, our true nature. Full of this blissful blue light. And again, Lama Tara sends this time the three together. Because we can do more. We can not just become liberated from samsara, we can become a Buddha. So she this time sends the three lights together. White from the brow, blue from the red from the throat, blue from the heart, entering our three places. And removing now even the subtlest imprints, even the imprints that are left over from all these delusions. that then causes us to become Buddha, become our own Tara. Imagine this, these three lights coming, filling us, manifesting our own Buddha nature. So now you imagine the multicolored lotus she's sitting on dissolves up into the moon disk and sun disk, which dissolve into her body. And the little multicolored lotus that her right foot is resting on dissolves up into her body. And she very happily comes to sit above our crowns, facing the same way as us. And then from her wish to become oneness with us, she dissolves into green light and comes through our crown and completely fills us. And we imagine the energy of Tara's body, speech, mind, the energy of our Lama's body, speech, mind, merges with our body, speech, mind. Same thing. Union, oneness, Lama Yeshe would say. Full of this energy. And then now, just imagine you expand to fill the universe, as you would when your mind is enlightened. There's nothing to control, nothing to hold it back. Vast space, nature of bliss, no thoughts. No thoughts, just bliss, infinite, wise, clear. So while we're in this clear space, I'll read a little bit from Lama, how to meditate on emptiness. From Mahamudra. No, first I'll read from some of the benefits that we'd get if we had Samadhi, shamatha, if we'd accomplished single point of concentration. So just imagining how we'd be to get us excited. Lama likes to get us excited. The benefits of Samadhi are incredible, Lama says. Samadhi is the word meaning single point of concentration. The name of the technique is known as calm abiding. So to achieve the realization of Mahamudra, the reality of non-duality, we first need to develop calm abiding. In fact, it's not possible without it. We must achieve the subtler levels of consciousness of indestructible one-pointed concentration, what in Sanskrit we call Samadhi. It is difficult to realize non-duality, not because it's hiding from us, but because our concepts are so thick. So we must refine our concepts. We must achieve subtle mindfulness, subtle awareness, and subtle clarity. Otherwise, there is no way we can see the unconscious levels of ego grasping an independent self. Not possible. Samadhi is the source of liberation. Without perfect Samadhi, then, there is no way to become liberated from samsara and no way to achieve enlightenment. There is no exception. Whether we are Christian, Muslim, Hindu or Buddhist, to cut the dualistic view we need calm abiding. On the other hand, some people actually think that this state of Samadhi, this one-pointed concentration, is all we need in order to cut ego. But that is wrong. Lama Tsongkhapa reminds us that calm abiding alone is not enough to cut the dualistic view. We also need to develop special insight, or vipassana in Sanskrit. In Tibetan we call it klaktong, meaning extra, tong meaning seeing. We can interpret this to mean that we go beyond seeing conventional reality and achieve the extra seeing of the universal reality of Mahamudra. In other words, we need the two kinds of meditation together, calm abiding and special insight. Nevertheless, even without special insight, the results of Samadhi alone are unbelievable, almost unimaginable. When we understand this, when we realize how amazing the results are, we cannot help but to try to develop it. There's no way we become lazy. We will have much energy and make great effort. We won't even worry about eating. I will explain some of the benefits. You go beyond sensory and conceptual consciousness. As your concentration develops, you will go beyond your body. Your mind will be non-conceptual, so it becomes easy to cut the complex world of the five sense objects, to eliminate the superstitions. In such a unified state, your mind becomes so subtle, so sharp, you can easily eradicate the complex dualistic thoughts. You can touch reality. This is the feature of Samadhi. And out of meditation, you can easily deal with your delusions. They are so light, you can stop them immediately. You experience bliss. In the subtle state of concentration, you experience bliss, ecstatic bliss, just naturally. The more concentration you have, the more integrated you are, and thus the more rapture, the more bliss you experience. In the beginning, the bliss you experience is physical, which is the grosser level. But as your concentration deepens, as you throw off the layers of blankets of grosser consciousness, you experience bliss exclusively at the mental level. This is because you have stopped perceiving the objects of the five senses. You have closed the door to superstition. All the contradictory concepts have disappeared. Your mind is now crystal clear. As if you could count every atom. As your concentration gets stronger and you reach ever subtler levels, your mind becomes super powerful. From his own experience, Lama Tsongkhapa says that you can reach a point of such clarity in your meditation that your mind feels almost infinite. Your mind is so clear, so sharp, it's as if you can distinguish all the subtle physical energies. You'll have the courageous thought, I can count all the atoms of the universe. This level of mind is more powerful than even scientific instruments. You will always be joyful. When you arise from your meditation, you feel liberated instead of uncertain and full of doubts and conflicts. You experience inner peace. You'll always have a happy, joyful vibration. In fact, you will continuously experience tremendous pleasure. Now the pleasure of chocolate is nothing to you. What you can now experience with your mind is super. It's like another realm, another dimension. And when your senses do come into contact with their objects, of course, you experience bliss then too. You hardly even notice whether it's night or day. Actually, even now, when you have samsaric happiness, you have a similar kind of experience. You dance and drink all night, intoxicated with the pleasure. Time just flies. Well, this is what happens when you're intoxicated with the blissful experience of Samadhi. And of course, this shows that time is not fixed from the outside. It's made up by the mind. You'll have an experience of space. As you develop your concentration on the clarity of your consciousness, you will reach a point where you will be only at the conscious level, as we've discussed. You've gone beyond the physical, beyond the world of the five senses. Because you have thrown off the blankets of the superstitions, the heavy wrong conceptions, you'll feel so unified, and you'll have an experience of space, universal space. Your body feels so light. When you are out of meditation, the heavy energy of your body vanishes. Your body feels like a brand new body. You feel so light, almost as if you could fly, almost as if you had no body at all. To some extent, you can see this in your ordinary daily life. When your mind is satisfied, your body feels light, doesn't it? Your sleep is like meditation. Lama Tsongkhapa says that because you have developed such clarity in your concentration meditation, even in your dreams, your experience of the superstitions, your conceptions about the five sense objects will be much lighter. Your sleep will be like meditation. Normally we experience heavy, impure projections in our dreams, but when we have good concentration, we can experience pure visions. You develop clairvoyance. Lama Tsongkhapa says that you will develop clairvoyance. According to the Abhidharma teachings, there are two kinds of clairvoyance. One is what we understand as intuition, an untrained sense that we all have to some extent. For example, you might feel strongly, without any logical proof, that something has happened to your dear friend back home. The other can be gained by training in the mind in meditation, as we're discussing here. You are able to see long distances as well as other people, including their minds. At first your experience seems a bit like a dream, but the more your concentration develops, the more clearly you can see, just as you would if you were there in person. This kind of clairvoyance is not imagining something. It's real, in the present, not a fantasy. Normally with your deluded thoughts, you create images of your boyfriend in your mind when he's not there, let's say, and it's almost as if he's real. But when it's clairvoyance, you literally see your boyfriend. You may get a taste of non-duality. At the subtler levels of consciousness achieved in Samadhi meditation, your wisdom will be so powerful, so sharp, just naturally. Automatically, you will have some experience of non-duality, of Mahamudra, of no subject and object, because in this unified state of Samadhi, the complex dualistic thoughts have temporarily ceased. We could intellectually debate this. How can you stop the superstitions? It's not until you reach the 10th level of the bodhisattva stages that they have ceased. Yet here you're saying if you reach certain levels of concentration, you can achieve the experience of non-duality, non-superstition. Well, you can debate like this, yes, but when you understand these subtler levels of consciousness, you will see the logic of this assertion. Here we are talking about experience. At a certain point, you have to abandon these philosophical arguments. When I received the Mahamudra teachings from my guru, he said exactly this. I remember it. At first, I didn't understand. My conceptions were so strong then. As you may experience the dissolutions. As a result of deep concentration, it's possible to bring the deluded energies, the winds and the delusions themselves, into the central channel. This is similar to what happens at death. You feel as if you're disappearing, even the breath stops. Experiencing the various visions associated with the dissolution of the subtler energies is a sign of good concentration. If this happens, instead of being afraid, just let go. Keep your awareness, your memory or mindfulness. At each stage in this dissolution process, the mind gets finer, subtler. You can gain these realizations. Know that if you put effort into cultivating Samadhi, you can gain these realizations. It's possible because of the simple power of habit. From the Buddhist point of view, every human being has the potential for clarity, for bliss, which eventually can lead to the experience of universal reality. And of course, the more you experience your own potential for clarity and bliss, the deeper your concentration becomes and the happier you are to meditate. So you must learn to turn on the switch of your own ecstatic, blissful energy. So now, having imagined we've now become Tara, what else do we do but to benefit sentient beings? That's why we've done this work. So we must manifest to benefit them. So we visualize in front of us all the enemies, friends and strangers, all the sentient beings of the universe. Right in front, a couple of our latest enemies. People who've been mean to us, unkind to us, maybe whom we haven't forgiven, who've harmed us. Right in front. And to the left, your beloveds, just some of your beloveds, and imagine them there, the ones you adore, who you're attached to, whom you do have love for, whom you do have compassion for. And then to the right, and everywhere else, in the front, as far as the horizon goes, above you, to the left, to the right, behind you, below you, the whole of the universe full of all the strangers, all the sentient beings of all the realms, but in the human form, which is the form they can get enlightened in. The whole of space, full of sentient beings. Imagine. All suffering. And the worst suffering of all is not knowing that we have created our own suffering. This is the nightmare. We're all looking in the opposite direction, the wrong direction. We're all looking out there for happiness. We're all looking out there to blame, but it's in here. So much suffering. Lost. Sentient beings, just like us. All want to be happy, all don't want to suffer. So now I can help. So from our hearts, we just imagine trillions of tiny green taras going out, entering into the hearts of the enemies first, and taking away their suffering. Imagine them free of suffering, free of all their ridiculous delusions, which is why they suffer, why they've harmed you. And giving them everything they need, making them happy. And turning them into their Buddha. All the friends, all the strangers, trillions of taras going out, taking away all their suffering. Imagine that. Taking away the causes of their suffering, the delusions and negative karma. Giving them everything they need, making them joyful. And turning them into Tara, their own true nature, manifesting. Trillions of Taras, imagine now. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. 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 And a few times to yourself and just imagining them all free of suffering, full of happiness and becoming Tara. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Svaha. So now all these taras dissolve into green light from all the directions and dissolve into you, enhancing even more brilliantly your own Tara nature. And now we can just say our 5 little dedication prayers. You can just listen or say the words with me. Page 60 something. Dedicate all this virtue we've created. And then the next page is the food offering prayer. We can sing that, which is the same as our refuge prayer before. No, not quite next page, but coming soon. So, dedication prayers, page 55 or 56 or 54 or something. 5 essential dedication prayers. As a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, that's past, present and future, may bodhicitta, from which the happiness of all sentient beings comes, be generated in the minds of myself and other sentient beings without delay even for 1 second, and may that which has been generated, may it increase. As a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, may emptiness be generated in the minds of myself and other sentient beings without delay even for 1 second, and that which has been generated, may it increase. So now as we say this one, as Rinpoche says, just say the words and try and... Everything's empty, you see. All the merits we've created. Virtue is empty. Non-virtue is empty. Delusions are empty. Hell realms are empty. Buddhahood is empty. But when we hear that, don't hear, oh, therefore there's nothing. Hear that it means they exist as dependent arisings. That's the point. But then as Lama Zopa says, once we realize emptiness, it's as if there's no heaven, no hell, no good, no bad, no me, no you. But there is. But what does exist is so subtle, it is as if it's an illusion. It is as if there is, it is as if there's not, but there is. So it's this kind of subtle understanding. There's not nothing, but it's as if there's not nothing. But there is, and that's the part we have to try and understand. There's no contradiction. So enlightenment is empty. The Buddha is empty, but it means exists exactly and functions exactly as stated, as an enlightened being to manifest it throughout realms to benefit sentient beings. Negative karma is empty. The action of killing is empty, but it functions to harm sentient beings. It functions to create negative karma. So we have to stop going between there's nothing or there's something. We feel there's either nothing or there's something, but it's subtler than that. It's more nuanced than that. And it's not just being tricky. It's literal. And when we realize this, we're understanding Buddha's intent. We're understanding the universe, understanding reality. So as a result of the 3 times merits of myself and others, which are empty from their own side, may I, who am empty from my own side, achieve Tara's enlightenment, which is empty from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that enlightenment which is empty from its own side as quickly as possible by myself alone. That's the brave attitude of the Bodhisattva. Whatever dedication the victorious ones gone to bliss of the 3 times have admired as best, I'll also perfectly dedicate in the same way all these roots of virtue so that I may perform good works. And because of the past, present and future merit created by me and by the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas and sentient beings, may I, my family, students and all sentient beings be able to actualize completely in this very lifetime Lama Tsongkhapa's path of unified Sutra and Tantra, which is pure like refined gold. May this pure teaching of Lama Tsongkhapa spread in all directions and flourish forever. So now we can think about food and go to page 62, a few pages on, the food offering prayer. It's the same prayer we sing in the morning, the refuge prayer. So just, okay. So now, first we now visualize all the food out there. And then we think of it as a big skull in the sky. Huge as anything. And then we imagine Oma Hung, white, red and blue, melting into it, making it transcendental, blissful nectar. Oma Hung, Oma Hung, Oma Hung. So we've just now blessed it with the energy of the body, speech and mind. This is what it says. So now we imagine the universe full of all the holy beings and all the ordinary suffering sentient beings, and you imagine that you happily offer this delicious nectar and they joyfully receive it. So this prayer we say in the mornings. Lama Sangye Lama Tradition Lama Gedunte Kungij Jepo Lama Yin Lama Nam La. But instead of saying instead of saying Lama, what is it? Kyapsu Chi, which means we take refuge. Here we're saying we make offering. Chirpa Bull. So that once is enough, don't worry. So may we and those around us in all future lives never be separated from the three jewels, continuously making offerings to the three jewels and receive the inspiration of the three jewels. And to the Supreme Teacher, the precious Buddha, to the Supreme Refuge, the precious Dharma, the Supreme Guides, the precious Sangha, to the Triple Gem, the objects of refuge, I make offering. And then we imagine, and that's all, that's enough. Now you enjoy it. Okay. Retreat mode till noon.